6 p.m. This is Monday, March 7th, 2016. This is the regular board meeting of the Village of Pulaski. Could I have a roll call on the pledge?
Roger Brichkowski.
Present.
Robert Gajewski. Doug Prentice.
Present.
Chris Smith. Richard Stachinski. Robert Van Lannen. And Reed Woodward.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
By Chris. Second by Bob Gajewski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 3, approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 1st, 2016, and to dispense with the reading. So moved. By Richard.
Second.
Second by Doug. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 4, proclamation, first annual Cashmere Pulaski Week, March 7th through the 13th, 2016, by the Village of Pulaski. A proclamation, whereas Cashmere Pulaski was a Polish nobleman, soldier, and military commander who has been called the father of American cavalry. Pulaski was one of the leading military commanders of the Bar Confederation and fought against Russian domination of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. When this uprising failed, he emigrated to North America as a soldier of fortune, following the endorsement of Benjamin Franklin. During the American Revolutionary War, he saved the life of George Washington and became a general in the Continental Army. Whereas the village of Pulaski was named after Count Casimir Pulaski, the great freedom fighter of Europe and America, resolved that memory of Casimir Pulaski, March 6th, 1745 to October 11th, 1779, I, Reed A. Woodward, as a citizen of the United States and village president and a proud resident of the village of Pulaski, do further resolve to proclaim the week of March 7th through the 13th, 2016, as Cashmere Pulaski Week, during which week we ask that everyone join in honoring Cashmere Pulaski. Pulaski residents, schools, organizations, and businesses are preparing for one of the largest themed initiatives of the year. A week of special events, contests, sales, live music, store promotions, historic tours, food, refreshments, even a polka mass. Promote Pulaski Incorporated, the organization behind the event, is extending an invitation to all communities and the village residents to make a special effort to visit Pulaski and take part in the week-long event. Signed, Reed A. Woodward, Village President. Thank you all. We had a dedication for Cashmere Street this morning. It was very well attended and it turned out real nice and the weather really cooperated. So it was a great success. And there are events every day. The flyer is included in your packet. Tomorrow Super Ron's going to have Polish Sausage Tuesday event, and there's going to be a Cashmere Pulaski scavenger hunt and Pulaski Library Craft Day. And each day there are a whole host of things to celebrate. So, with that, we're going to move to item number 5, and Karen and I are going to leave the dais, and I'm going to introduce Gordy Black and Janelle Batten. And I know it's Lenny Ignatius. Just put it out there. They're going to give you a presentation on the Field of Dreams.
No, that's fine.
So, I guess I'm going to speak first, so that's okay. I'm Janelle Batten, I'm the athletic director at Pulaski High School, and I guess I'm going to move out of the way a little bit here, but I'm going to be working off of our web page just to kind of show you what we're working with and where we're headed with this whole project. And first I want to just tell you why I'm here. I'm here just to inform you, just to tell you. That's all I'm here for. So I want to show you where we're at. We're very excited about this project and I want to share it with you. I'm originally from Appleton, Wisconsin. I did a project similar to this when I was at Appleton East High School. Similar but different. Similar in the way that we're looking to build an athletic complex. different a little bit, and when we did this the last time, when I did it in Appleton about 13 years ago, it was more of a want and not a need, and this for us is a need, and I'm going to explain that a little bit in a minute. But I wanted to show you what we're talking about. I know that in the past, when they've looked at building an athletic complex, they were looking specifically at passing a referendum. That is not what we're asking for at all with this. This is all being funded right now by private donations. And with that said, I'm going to show you kind of the overall price tag of our whole project and then kind of work backward from there. But I should tell you that when this was first presented, when I first got here, I looked at the old plan for this that maybe Mel Leitner had envisioned. And that plan, if we were to do it today, was about roughly about $10 million plan, okay? What we've done is we've scaled it back to, again, needs versus wants, doing this project so that it's a well-done project, but yet not overspending, okay? So I'm going to show you our overall price tag and our thermometer for the whole 2 phases of this. The overall price tag is about $4.9 million. We are roughly at about about 1.85 million is where we're at, okay, today. Now, the first phase of this project is what we're working towards right now, and that first phase is actually a $3 million project. So, you know, we're at 1.85 again of the 3 million, which is the first phase, okay? Working back a little bit then, you know, why this project, why now, why are we doing this? You know, is it this just a want? And the answer is no. And I'm going to explain a little bit about what's going on in the rest of the state right now, okay? So again, I'm from the Fox Valley. In the Fox Valley right now, we have a school, Kaukauna High School, which we're playing Thursday night, ironically, I guess, in the basketball tournament. Kaukauna High School sits right next to Kimberly High School, and they are losing every year to open enrollment 670 kids, 670, okay? The problem with losing that many kids per year is when you lose kids, with them goes money. We all know that. With them goes your open enrollment money. 580 of those 670 students that they lose per year, 580 of them are choosing to go to Kimberly. And they're choosing to go there because of athletics and facilities, whether we like it or not. I'm the athletic director, so I know these things or whatever, but I can tell you that people do make decisions based on athletics. As sick and as wrong as that might be to most of us who grew up in a different world, but that's what they're choosing these days. With that said, when you lose money to open enrollment, you lose about $10,000 per student, about roughly. I'm rounding it a little bit, but it's about $10,000 per student. Unfortunately, when you gain a student from another district, you don't gain that much money back. It's not tit for tat. It's not a wash. So for example, if I lose Jody and I gain Cindy, I lose 10. I don't bring 10 back in. I don't know the exact number. It's somewhere near 7, but it's not a perfect wash, unfortunately. So we know that we need to keep our kids here in Pulaski. We want to keep our kids in the Pulaski School District. So that was first and foremost with this. Now, the other thing that some of you who do have kids, I just talked to Jody about this earlier, you'll know that when you go to other schools, we do not have what they have. Not that we need to, but we're nowhere near close what they have, facility-wise. We've improved some of our facilities. If you look at the old high school football field, which now hosts football and track and soccer, we've improved a lot of things, but we're nowhere near what we should be or what we could be. Right now, if you look at what we have at the middle school, and I'll just bring up that picture so you can see it. If you look at what we actually have at the middle school, let's see. Okay, so there is a map of the middle school, although right there at the softball field, you can see the softball field with the skinned-in field. To the left of it, there is a baseball field there. It's just not showing on this map. But roughly, if you look at that field that's there, that's a 50-year-old field, the problem with it is that the field is overused. Last year alone, we had 104 events on that field, on that grass field. We have been told by a consulting firm that builds fields, whether they build grass or artificial fields, that the most amount of fields you should have most amount of events on a field you should have a year and have a healthy field that grows grass is 40. We have 104, it's overused. We know that in the fall, for example, we have a plethora of things being hosted at that field. At the baseball field, we had fall baseball going on. To the left of it, in the top left corner of those two fields, we had football, middle school football games going on. Below that, we had middle school soccer. To the right of it, at the major field, we had high school varsity and JV soccer going on. And then below that area, into the woods, we had cross-country, okay? In the gym, all the way to the right-hand side, that same very night, we had volleyball going on. So you can see we were in for a nightmare because we had nowhere to park, people couldn't get around, and then the bigger problem was we had to let an ambulance in and they couldn't get in. We weren't built for this capacity. It just wasn't meant to host all of these things. Before, when that football field was built, it was built for football. It was not built for soccer because 50 years ago we weren't playing soccer in Wisconsin. So we never kind of had that forethought, which is fine. It was just never there. So one of the things that we looked at when we first started this project was we said, well, can we Band-Aid that area? Can we put some money into that area and fix it? The track right now is not, the bottom portion of the track is not even on the track anymore. It came off in sheets 2 summers ago. So we have some issues with it. We also have flooding issues with those areas, with the soccer areas specifically. There is no drain tile underneath it right now to take it towards the creek, so we know we have issues out there. And we know we have to put some money into it. So we looked at how can we put some money into that. If we did, that overall package to redo that area would be about $4.1 million just for this if we were going to redo this area. We would have to then put a turf field in this area because we would still have the same problem with overuse, and we could not play on a natural field because we would have overuse issues. To raise that area where you see the soccer field right now, the soccer/football field, to raise that area to be able to put turf there, we'd have to raise it 6 to 9 inches. If we did that, that water would now drain to the right and would flood our middle school. So it just wasn't an option. So this overall package was about $4.1 million. However, we were able to make this a phase 2 area, and I'll explain it and I'll come back to it, but with some simple excavation, just some high top excavation where we just put some topsoil down, put a little bit of drain tile, we can make this into a soccer facility. We would keep this as natural turf, and by moving football off of that field, we would eliminate overuse. This track we would keep as is, eventually pulling all that synthetic rubber off and using it as just a walking path for the community. So I'm going to go over to what we're working on right now at the high school. Right now, if you look right here where my cursor is, this is the high school parking lot, here's the high school. So you walk out, we currently have this parking lot, we currently have these 7 tennis courts right here, and we have this pond. But other than that, this is pretty much just grass, kind of unlevel grass, to be honest with you, and we do practice out there a little bit, but that's it. So we're working on what's called phase 1 right now. Phase 1 of this project is going to turn this right here into a stadium. This stadium will host football, track, sometimes soccer. Remember I said we're going to make the other thing mainly soccer, but sometimes soccer and inclement weather. It will host our band, which really needs a place to practice. Right now they're in the back 40 practicing at night. This will give them a place to practice. It will host cheer and dance, as well as in the spring, we can simply move the snow off, and we have a place for baseball and softball to practice as well. So this is kind of a one-stop shop. That's why we actually started with this area first, because it affects most kids, and it affects them quickly. So it's the track, it's the field area, it's the stadium seating here. Underneath, we actually took this building out of the plan that you see right here, and we were able to make it more cost-effective by moving that space, which is concessions, storage, bathrooms, underneath this seating, and we were able to save some money. Again, we talk about about wants versus needs and about being fiscally responsible. We were able to move it underneath. This area here is our jumping areas. This is our throwing areas for track. And to complete this phase 1, we'll have a practice field right here. This is all phase 1. Phase 2 would be our baseball and softball diamonds, as well as practice fields, and finishing off these tennis courts. Between phase 1 and phase 2, if I go back to the middle school, what will happen as soon as we finish phase 1 is that this area will be freed up a bit. Back to the middle school, it will be freed up a bit. We won't have overuse of football out there all the time. And we'll be able to excavate these, just a top dressing, to make them better for soccer, and we'll be able to use that for soccer. So that'll make a very nice soccer facility with over 850 kids playing soccer. It will be used. So if I go back to this area one more time, again, we're being as fiscally as responsible as we can with this project. We understand that the referendum did not pass, and we get that, and we understand that the taxpayers don't want this on their bill. We get that. If you look, the board, I presented you with a packet in front of you. If you look on the left-hand side in the packet, you'll see a naming rights thing in there. This is how we started our campaign when we went out. We started with the big sheet there, the naming rights sheet. And we went out to companies and we explained what we were trying to do. Well, how we were trying to change the community, how we're trying to bring more kids into the community, and how to tell people are proud of Pulaski and they don't want to leave our community. And so we talked to some companies, and we started with these naming rights, if you will. And I know you're probably looking at those and you're thinking $1 million, $500,000, holy cow. But as crazy as it seems, there are people that want their name out in Pulaski. They want to be part of this. They want to be part of the change. We've had donations as high as $500,000 from one company, another company $400,000. We've had a $300,000 donor, and on down the line. So we're able, again, we're at 1.845. We are now on our second phase of this. And so what we're doing is we're still talking to some of these bigger companies, but our second phase is now to hit some of the middle donors, maybe $25,000 or $10,000 donors. And so the card that you have in here, this legacy card is our second phase. This legacy card is geared more towards people that have such a strong connection to Pulaski that they'd like to make a $10,000 donation. And those $10,000 donations can be done anywhere from 1 to 5 years. So for example, there's a family of teachers at Pulaski where they'd like to give $2,000 a year for 5 years. That's their $10,000. If we can target 100 people at that, that's another $1 million that we can bring into our project. So Gordy Black is kind of heading up that part of the campaign right now. Eventually, what we will be doing is we will be working on down the line. We'll be working towards people that want to give smaller donations to this project. We'll be working towards people that, there's a lot of teachers that have asked, can they please do payroll deductions, which is a great thing. Very committed to the district as teachers, and they'd like to do that. That will be coming on down the line, as well as names on the seats at the stadium. If you go to Preble, if you go to West of Pier, you'll see a lot of that stuff being done. We're going to do the same thing. So I just want to share with you what's coming on down the line. I'm going to let Gordy and Cindy kind of pipe in a little bit as community members and how this will affect the community.
Thanks, Janelle. I'll speak directly to the Legacy Club in that specific area. These knuckles are knocking on doors or entering doors. I'm going to business and talking to individuals, giving the same packet you have in front of you. And with that being said, I'm asking them just to take it as a consideration, not only for them personally, but also if they are a Napa or a State Farm or something like that, can your corporate group help us out? Would they be interested in helping us out? We want to raise this money. We want to make sure that we complete all phases of this so that it's good to the community, and in the community, we've got the good word out. We feel strongly in the aspect with the Legacy Club that there are individuals. There's graduates of Pulaski that have done well for themselves, and so we're trying to work through that. It's a database we don't have, unfortunately, but we're working through some people. We're asking people, hey, do you know somebody that played football 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that now is in a corporate position someplace away from Pulaski that would consider being part of the Legacy Club? So we're reaching out to all different facets. I guess we're thinking outside the box. We're trying to go ahead and raise the money. As you've probably seen, we've done some only minor splashes of marketing and promoting this. Once the ground is moved, and it gets moved to show the building of that facility, then things are really going to start happening. But we're trying to set the groundwork just like we're doing tonight with you folks, just so you know. And Chris is on our steering team, and we thank her and Larry for being part of that. Our steering team is 7 of us, I think, and we've been at it now, that part about 18 months. And in the community, I think it speaks volumes for people to step up and say, hey, we want to be part of this. So for consideration. And I'll reach out to you as village board members. I think this has a real key facet to our total community. And by the way, our emails are on the back of the business card in there. If you know of somebody, if you can open the door for us, we'll be more than glad to go ahead and knock on their door and say, hey, this is what's going on. Give them a brief talk about what it is. We've met with Reed twice, I think it is, to keep him up to speed, and that's when he suggested we come to you and just give you an FYI, and that's what this is. Because it's going to happen. We're that confident it's going to happen, so thank you for your time.
Cindy? So I'll speak from the community member. I'm a business owner in the district. We have 2 kids, freshman, sophomore, and the excitement from hearing from other families within the same, kids in the same age, it's unreal. I mean, people are excited to stay in the Pulaski district. We've had people that walk into our store and say, we actually moved to the Bayport district because of their facility, but had we known this, we would have stayed in this district. Just the overall, even when you look at housing, people are talking about, well, now it might be easier, Pulaski might be an easier place for us to sell our home if we ever want to relocate, or because it will be an area of interest that people want to move. So it just, from having kids within in that age range, it's exciting.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. If you have any questions for us or whatever, we can be reached by email. You can reach us at the high school, myself, or any of these people would be glad to take a call. So thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, I got Well, I wish you continued success. I think it's a vital piece to our future, and if it can be done without putting it on the tax roll, it's really a worthwhile endeavor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 6, persons desiring to be heard. Number 6, persons desiring to be heard. Third time, persons desiring to be heard. There being none. Item number 7, committee reports, committee of the whole, February 22nd, 2016. The minutes are included. There really is no action necessary tonight from that. Included in your packet was the Fire Department Board of Directors meeting for February 23rd. The status report and the chief's report is in there. Parks Ad Hoc Committee, Economic Development Committee of February 24th, 2016. Doug?
We held a meeting at First American Bank at 11:30 on the 24th of February, and there was only one thing we discussed before walking across the street and doing the tour. I had mentioned before that we were a location of interest for our North Business Park. We actually did not get chosen, did not get selected, but we get to remain in touch with that group that does the selection process and find out what didn't move them this way. So if there's anything that we can do to improve our site, so that if something comes up in the futures, we are selected. So looking forward to seeing that report. And then we walked over to the Franciscan Friars printing building and took a look, and then came back to the bank and did a lot of brainstorming about different possibilities and functions and uses in that building. It'd be close to $500,000 for the Franciscans to knock that building down, so they want to see it put back into use rather than spending money to have a green space there. I think personally I support that, and there are some interested parties in moving there. I think if we can get one business or organization to move in there, a developer might find this as ripe for development and push forward with some other functions in that building. So, well-attended, both in that afternoon meeting as well as in the evening too. So that's all I have to report on that.
Good. Just to kind of reinforce, this is not the village trying to do something with the Franciscans. This was the Franciscans reaching out to the village saying, can you help us, showcase this building, and we would like nothing better than have stuff brought here. And just from the observation, the bottom floor and this first floor could easily be light manufactured.
Built very, very well.
Yeah, and great elevators, and so it's like very well built. I was kind of shocked, I didn't think it was heated anymore. There's 6 brand new furnaces in there, and they go on one at a time as the need arrives, so I was kind of shocked to see that. But it is a well-built building. That thing is solid as can be. So it would be nice to, there was a lot of business people that toured, and they were quite impressed with the quality overall of the building. So hopefully that'll create some kind of interest there, get some balls rolling in a good and positive direction. Next, I put you on again, ad hoc meeting February 25th. That was a busy couple days.
Oh, it was a rough week. There are a few things that we talked about that I wanted to bring to the board from the Parks Use Committee meeting. The bleachers are starting to look a little bit rough, and those are, of course, are wood, so they're deteriorating. I don't know if we can do some repainting or put a few new boards in, but that's something that Joe is going to be looking at as spring comes up here. There was a discussion about a retainer fee and a form to have anybody that hosts an event out there on our fields. We haven't had them fill out a form. Of course, we get their information if they come for a liquor permit or something like that. But other than collecting a little bit of money, we don't do much for a retainer. And it's kind of hard to enforce keeping the field, the soils level and those sorts of things after an event like that. So we'll have some more discussion about that as spring comes here. There was a person desiring to be heard that moved here from Green Bay. Her child was poisoned by lead in her home in Green Bay, moved to our community, and has tested a few of our items around our community to find out where is it safe to have her children playing. She did notice some lead in the paint that we have on the old pavilion at Memorial Park. It's, of course, underneath layers of paint, but if you get under there are some lead-based paint. Her concern is when we do take that building down, because it is one of our needs and wants over the next few years here, if we could follow some proper takedown of that building, keeping it wet so there's no lead going into the air, and then, settling, of course, on all of our brand new play equipment right there. So that was a concern. And then I guess there's some guidelines for, taking a certain amount of soil out if there was lead paint. That's something that I never thought of. Of course, you think of asbestos when you tear